welcome to our Wednesday night live Q&A. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. And please, when you get on and say hi, just give me your name and where you're from so I can enter you into our live drawing. That we'll do between 7 and 7:30, depending on how many people we have tonight with questions. And also, if this is your first time, my name is Tracy Matson. I'm a certified professional dog trainer and certified behavior consultant. I noticed on the screen it says Natalie. I think Natalie was the last one to do a live, but for those of you that come every week, like Nicole and Julie, hello, you know that Natalie's hair is much curlier than mine. In fact, I'm so jealous. I wish I had her hair. Okay, so I'm just writing down your names. I missed you guys last week. They were doing another live earlier that day. So rather than doing 2 lives a day, we were going to reschedule this. And then I didn't really have a time that I could reschedule. So we just decided to cancel it for last week, but I missed being here with you guys. Plus, I was not feeling really well Wednesday because I got my second vaccination the day before, and this one was much worse. In fact, I woke up at like 3:30 in the morning and I thought I had COVID again. It was so bad. I actually got vaccinated because my cousin kept bugging me because he works for the health system and was telling me all these horror stories about people that didn't get vaccinated and ended up really sick. And so I finally just did it. But that day I thought, if I get this sick, I'm going to kill you. Luckily, it was just a 24-hour thing and then I was fine. But hi, Brian. But anyway, I don't know how with it I would have been last Wednesday anyway. So it was probably Illinois. It was probably good that we canceled. But anyway, I'm excited to be here. And hopefully you guys have come with your questions. While I'm waiting for your questions, I wanted to share an enrichment idea with you. Hi, Victoria. Victoria. Is this your first time? Sometimes it's because you're new or you haven't been here for a while. Hi, Renee. So today we had rain, and I actually had 2 puppy boarding trains with me, and then you guys that have been here before know that I have Willy Wonka, the foster dog, and so I had 6 dogs in my house on a rainy day, and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Willy Wonka is going through this phase where he wants to chew wood. So he's chewed up this little wheelbarrow thing that I have. I have a coffee table, and underneath the coffee table, hi, Erin. Underneath the coffee table is where I keep like all my music books, like, guitar books, piano books, all that kind of stuff. And I noticed that he was like chewing the corners of the book, like he likes the spiral part of it. So I kept like redirecting him to toys. But he kept going back to chewing stuff he's not supposed to have. Then he went for a Kleenex box that's under there. So I preach this stuff all the time. So I thought I'll just do it. So I got a Capri Sun box that was in the fridge and smeared a little bit of peanut butter on the inside and then taped the one end closed and threw it out in the middle of the living room and let them have at it. And they had a blast. Well, you can see this is all that's left. Um, they shredded it, tore it up. I wish I could show you the video from my phone, but I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. But it was hilarious to watch them like shred this up and then like run around with pieces of cardboard hanging out of their mouth. But it kept them busy for a while, and it was really good enrichment for them to do on a rainy day when I couldn't just put them outside. So if you need an idea for something to do on a bad weather day, cereal boxes work, cracker boxes, Kleenex boxes. I actually went for a paper towel roll, but the paper towel was like full, and I didn't want to unravel like the whole roll of paper towels just for the roll. So I was looking in the fridge, and my cousin's son had left an empty box, mind you, of Capri Sun in the fridge. So luckily for me, I didn't have to empty it. It was already empty, and I was going to recycle it anyway, so I let them tear it up. So there's your enrichment tip for the day, and I'm going to go back and answer questions. Erin, I would like to start running with my puppy. Any tips on how to train her? How old is your puppy? You want to be careful not to do too much impact stuff when they're really young, just because of their growth plates. One of our vets up here said, like, trails and stuff are better because of the dirt. However, you want to kind of stay away from inclines. So, but if you're running like on a path or something like that, I would just start, like, put your puppy on a leash and just start running with her, and just see how it goes. I've never really trained a dog to run, mainly because I'm not a runner, but I am a hiker, and I just take them on leash and we just go, and then they like learn to come back and check in and things like that. And are you talking about, you want her to run off leash with you or just on leash? Because I think if you just start running, she's going to run with you. The one thing that I would be careful of with a puppy is, they like to zigzag in front of you, and Jade likes to get like in my feet, and I trip over her sometimes. So luckily I'm just walking, but there are times when I have a hard time even walking without falling. So I would just be careful with that to make sure that your puppy doesn't trip you. But yeah, I'm trying to think back when I was younger and in better shape, if I ran with a dog. I've seen lots of people do it. They just kind of, if the dog's off leash, the dog can like sniff and stuff, and then they catch up with their owner. I've seen some people do it on leash where it's just like heel, only you're running instead of walking. So I would say just take her out and see how it goes. Okay, Nicole. Okay, so, and I'm having some streaming issues, it seems like, so hope I don't lose you guys. So yeah, Nicole, that's exactly the issue that I'm having with my foster dog. So Nicole says Moose is having an issue chewing on things he shouldn't, furniture and walls. He does better when walked daily, but my foot was hurting this week. Yeah, so I'm having the same issue with Willy Wonka. He cardboard books, so I would try to do some enrichment, and instead of chewing on furniture and walls, like redirect him, make him an enrichment toy out of an empty box. You can even use something like, this was for puppies, but you could save like an Amazon box or, a Pupford box. but thicker, bigger, and toss some treats in there. You can spread baby food, pumpkin, peanut butter in there, and then let your dog tear it apart. It does make a mess, I will tell you. I don't have any carpet downstairs for a reason, but you just pick up the pieces. It took like 2 minutes to clean up, but yeah, it looked like a hurricane went through my house because there was this cardboard everywhere. But it kept them busy, and it got them away from chewing things that they weren't supposed to chew. So another thing that you could do is like some nose work. So get like 4 or 5 boxes and put a treat in one of them and let Moose like sniff all the boxes. And then the one that does have the treat, like let him like paw it open or chew it open so that it takes more time and get out the treat that's inside. And I would put something that is kind of smelly since you're going to have multiple boxes, like cheese, or I usually use cheese or hot dogs when I'm doing nose work. I have used the Pupford salmon treats just because they have more odor in them. So you could do that as well. Another thing that you might do with Moose if your foot's hurting is do a flirt pull. So that you can be pretty stationary and do that, but Moose is going to be able to run around, grab, shake, play tug, and then you can practice a drop it and do it again. So usually when dogs start chewing on things, they're either teething or they're bored. Today I think my dogs were just bored because it was raining outside, and so that's why I did the box, but it worked out really well. So yeah, try some mental enrichment and things like that will kind of tire Moose out. Oh, Erin, she's 2. Oh, you're fine then. Yeah, you don't need to worry about growth plates. So I would just start running with her and just see how she does. You might start with like a fast walk and then a jog and then, pick up the pace as far as, getting your dog into it. But yeah, I think you're fine just to go and start running. So if your dog has the zigzag issue, and Julie, I will come back and get your question. You could try a target stick. So a target stick is actually have one. So look, hang on one second. I'm gonna grab it. It's so funny because usually when I talk about stuff, I don't have it handy, and today I actually have it handy. So a target stick is something like this that extends. This one's not my favorite because it doesn't extend long enough. This is more like what I use. I always buy different ones just to see which ones I like and which one's going to work. But I like this one because you can see that it's really long. It depends on how big your dog is. So the one that I use is actually called the clicker stick. It's purple, and the ball on the end is a little bit bigger. So I like that one, and it has a clicker on it. This one also has a clicker on it, as does this one. So if you do clicker training, you can mark it. But what I do is I will stick peanut butter, like I'll dip this in peanut butter. And I use this for leash walking a lot to teach dogs to walk by my side. So I'll carry those little individual peanut butter packs with me, and I'll just dip this in the peanut butter. And then as I'm walking, or in your case, you're going to be running, I put this right by my side and let the dog follow the peanut butter. And I do let them lick it off. So they're allowed to lick it. And then it teaches them to kind of stay by your side and not zigzag, because it gives them like something to do. So you could start something like this. One I like this ball better because it's bigger, so you can get more peanut butter on it. You could also do something like squeeze cheese or that spray cheese, and just have that by your side and um, spray it out so that your dog's getting the cheese as you're running. So anything that like keeps them right there by your side. Could do something like that. So anything that focuses your dog's attention to your side as you're running, and then pretty soon your dog will just learn to like stay by your side. You could also drop treats, but I think if you're running, that's going to be hard, and then your dog's going to want to stop to get the treat, and it's going to mess up your pace. But you could easily run and hold like one of these and just put it out just as far as you need it, and then you can keep like dipping peanut butter in. Um, you could also use something like the baby food pouches. I did this last week with Maddie when she had acupuncture. Um, the pouches that you like squeeze it out. And I just kept squeezing it to let her lick it while we were putting the needles in. But you could carry something like that and have it right by your side, and let your dog like lick the baby food as you're running. So anything like that will teach them to stay by your side rather than zigzag. Okay, Julie. I went back to square one, where when I get home, I let Ellie out of the crate first. Then I would gate off the hallway so Dakota doesn't charge Ellie. Then I do the engage and disengage. It's going pretty well. This is the third day of me doing it. Awesome. Good job. When I read, at first when I said I went back to square one, I thought, oh dear, we've had a setback. But you're doing everything right. And this is a great example of environmental management when you have like dog issues. So what Julie's doing is letting Ellie out first, and then gates it off because Dakota, her other dog, likes to charge at Ellie. So managing that environment so that you have it gated off, so that then Dakota can't practice that behavior, and then she's doing the look at that, engage, disengage. So I do something similar with Jade. Jade likes to sometimes guard the back door. So when Daphne comes in, Jade kind of like snaps at her. Like, I mean, I don't know why she's like guarding the back door, but so now sometimes if Jade's there, Daphne doesn't want to come in. So it's hard when it's dinner time and I feed Willy Wonka outside and then I feed the girls inside. So what I actually have to do is I crate Jade, I bring Daphne in, and I let Daphne start eating, and then I feed Maddie and let Jade out and then feed Jade last. The reason Jade eats last is because she gulps down her food and then we'll go take Daphne's food. And Daphne is just the sweetest, easiest dog I've ever had. And she'll just like walk away and let Jade have her food, and that's not okay. So yeah, I do that kind of thing as well. So hey, girls, quiet. Somebody's outside. So that's actually Maddie barking. I don't know what she's barking at. Come here. What's going on? Okay, that's enough. So I will crate Jade and then let Daphne in and then feed them and kind of manage it that way. So good job, Julie. That's a great example of managing. Hey, Emily. I don't know why Maddie would be barking. She never barks. Emily, my whole family is going to Virginia for Christmas except me. And they're kind of mad at me because I'm not going, but they're going for 3 weeks, and I have 4 animals to take care of. And I did have a cat on insulin until he passed away, but I still have Maddie on medication. Um, and it's just, you guys, I'm a workaholic. Like, that's all I do is work. But for me to even take a week off is a lot. And then I have to find a pet sitter, and I have to find somebody that can give meds. And if there's an emergency with Maddie, that they can recognize it and get her to a vet quick. So I opted not to go. So my whole family will be in Virginia for Christmas except me. Okay, Julie, last Saturday birthday party went really well. Good. No incidents. The girls had fun and ended up laying down in the house or next to someone's feet. Awesome. That's great news. See, that's progress too. That's awesome. Um, he gets fed out of puzzles for every meal and chews every day, but I will try cardboard. Um, yeah, it's much easier when you don't have carpet, and you don't have to worry about getting peanut butter on your carpet. And you're doing nose work as well, so that's good. I don't know what it is about like wood and wood type objects that dogs love, but Willie loves to chew anything that's wood or paper, like my guitar books, which is why. But you know, when I worked in rescue too, we would do enrichment things like this every day, and the dogs just love to tear it up and chew on it, but they don't swallow it. Like they don't consume it. They just like to chew on it. So try the cardboard. It works really well. Um, and for the flirt pole, if Moose doesn't have a lot of prey drive, um, you could try. So I know on the Pupford flirt pole, it has the toy, but then it also has the rope um, tug thing on the end. You could try putting some food on that, like peanut butter or baby food, or something like that, and see if you can get him to chase it that way, trying to get more of the food than what's on the end. Also, you can switch out the toys. So if you get on Amazon and look up, I mean, I've had dogs like ruin the end of my flirt poles, so I've had to like replace the toys several times. Maybe look online and see if there's something that you think your dog would want to chase and go after. Not all dogs are into squeaky toys, but some like the rope toys or something like that. So, but yeah, you might try putting something on the end. Oh, if you have sardines, like this would gross me out because I've actually never tasted sardines, but just the thought of it, I don't think I could do it. But I'm assuming that in a can of sardines, there's like juice, like the, like tuna fish has like the juice. Um, Take some of the juice and spread it on the toy, or you could even do tuna fish and take some of the juice and spread it on the toy. So that way, he's more following the smell than the toy, and then you can make it go faster and faster until he realizes that it's a fun game. Danny from Australia. Welcome. It's probably yet morning. I figured it would be middle of the night or early morning. Okay. My 14-month-old Labradoodle Sadie is getting possessive over sticks she may be chewing on at the park. Treats someone may be giving out and is growling and bullying dogs to keep them away from it. I try and take them off her before it escalates, and that seems to work, but not always. Okay, that's a great question. Um, so it's normal for dogs to resource guard certain things. Like I have Daphne who never resource guards anything. Like she'll give anything up. Jade, on the other hand, is a resource guarder. And Maddie, it depends on what it is. So even humans resource guard. We lock our house, we lock our car. If a waiter comes to take our plate before we're done eating, like we cover it or we say, no, 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 I'm not done. That's the same thing. And it does depend on what the resource is. Like if your dog loves sticks but doesn't really care about balls, then she may be like, oh yeah, you can have the ball, but the stick is mine. Um, I kind of have a rule in my puppy class. I say no treats during playtime because I don't want dogs to think they have to guard or to fight over it. Um, I know that can be hard at a park because a lot of people take chuckets and sticks and stuff to give their dog exercise. Um, One thing that you can do, and to an extent, I let dogs kind of have a conversation and work it out. Now, that being said, I do not let them fight, and I do not promote that. However, if your dog has a stick, and let's say another dog comes up and your dog growls, and if that dog is like, oh, okay, it's yours, you can have it, and backs off, that's totally appropriate, and they resolved it themselves. Like, no problem. If your dog has a stick and another dog comes up and your dog growls and this dog says, oh, but I really, really want it and I'm going to challenge you for it, then you may have a problem. Um, if the other dog is bigger and your dog is like, okay, fine, you can have it, then again, they just used it without problem. Um, and it may depend on the resource. If you're trying to take it away before that escalates, what I would do is teach trades. So when I teach a trade, I'll just use these since I have them here. Let's say that let's say this is a stick and Jade's chewing on it and I need to get it away from her. I would probably, and I just said don't use treats at parks, but you may want to keep a few on you. Ooh, this doesn't feel very stable. I don't know if I like this one. You might want to keep a few treats on you just for this purpose, but if your dog's chewing on a stick, go up with a treat, and it has to be something of equal or higher value. So if you just have like a boring milk bone, that might not be high enough value for your dog to give up the stick. But I'll usually put a treat right in front of their mouth and say, drop it, and then they drop it to get the treat. And as soon as they drop it, then I say, yes, and then treat. I would work on this at home when there's no other dogs around and practice doing trades where your dog has this and you offer this and you say drop it, so your dog drops this one and they get this one, and then if this is like a treat or something, they can eat it and then you can give this back and say, okay, take it. So to the dog, they get not only a treat for dropping or something better, but then they get the original item back. So we just trade back and forth. And so to the dog, it's not bad. It's not like they're giving up anything. You're just trading. And then at a park, I would treat for dropping the stick, and then you take the stick and it goes away. And then I actually wouldn't throw the stick or let it be out where there's other dogs just to avoid any problems. But yeah, to an extent, that is totally normal for dogs to do that. But I don't let dogs fight over stuff. If they do that, I take it away, and then they all lose the stick or the toy or whatever it is. I actually, when I have puppies that board and train here, I let them learn from my dogs, and mainly Jade, because the other two don't really care too much about stuff. But if Jade has something and one of, puppies don't know they don't know a lot yet, and they need to learn body language and stuff like that. So, puppies will just go right up to my dogs while they're eating, or, and actually I don't allow, I have the puppies eat behind the baby gate, but I have had one before jump over the baby gate and go running right up to my dogs while they're eating. And if my dogs growl, that's appropriate. That's telling the other dog you need to back up, and you're too close to my food. And I let them teach the puppy that. They don't snap at them, they don't bite them, they don't hurt them. They just give them a warning saying you're getting too close to my food, and the puppies learn to back away. And so that teaches them, kind of proper manners and stuff like that. So to that extent, I kind of do let dogs teach other dogs. But like I said, I don't let it go to the point of fighting. And when you say bullying dogs, are you just talking about growling? Because if your dog's just growling and that's as far as it goes, that's appropriate. That's just your dog saying, this is mine. I don't want to give it to you. You can't have it, and you need to back off. So that's pretty appropriate. If your dog's doing something else that you're considering bullying, describe that to me so that I kind of know what that looks like. But I would start teaching traits with your dogs. Okay, Nicole. He's a husky German Shepherd mix, so he has a lot of energy. Oh, yes, he does. We also play fetch most days. Good. Try the squeaky toy, because if you have the flirt pole, so now I'm going to pretend like this is the flirt pole, like without the end. But if there's a squeaky toy on the end, you can squeak the toy and then throw it out and let your dog chase it. So then it's more like chasing a squirrel or chasing, a chipmunk or something like that. So yeah, you could try that on the end. You've got sardines because it takes a lot to motivate at times. Yeah, that might be the husky in him. I've worked with a lot of Arctic breeds, and it can be hard to find what their reinforcer is. I had one of my really good friends had both of her Malamutes in my reactive dog class, and I'm telling you, they did not care about treats, their owners, praise, nothing. They're like so independent, and it was really hard to find something that they would be willing to work for. They finally did steak, so they brought pieces of cut up steak for class, and that's what we had to use. But yeah, it can be hard to find something that's reinforcing. But the sardines sound awesome. I have a friend that's a trainer, and she actually gets those same like baby food squeeze things that I use, and she fills it with tripe, which is like stomach, if you don't know what tripe is. Dogs love it. It's like a delicacy to dogs. It stinks really bad. And so she'll make a big batch of it and blend it. She puts other stuff in it too. And then she puts it in those baby food, reusable baby food pouches, and then gives it to the dog through that. And for like recall and things like that. So you might try that too if you're trying to find something that's really reinforcing. So Danny, that's what I've been doing. Good job. And sometimes she chases them and gets a bit too aggressive. So that's when I would step in and just say, hey, we're not going to do that. And then try to redirect her to do something else. If she's chasing a dog and getting aggressive, then I might say, okay, we're not going to play at the park. So if a dog doesn't play well with others, and if you can't limit the resources that are in the park, like sticks and balls and things like that, then I kind of say, sorry, you lost your play privilege. If you can control what's in the park, like sticks and balls and stuff like that, then try to do that. But if you can't, as soon as your dog starts to act aggressive, then it's like, okay, we're done. Then game's over. We have to leave. So you could try that too. Nicole, I also go get a lot of fish and dehydrate it. He's done some online classes, but he starts in-person classes Sunday. Oh, that's good. And that's going to help tire him out too. So I had a client today. It was our first session, and this dog, by the end of, I mean, our first consult goes 90 minutes, but which is way too long for a puppy. But we also talk about positive reinforcement, how dogs learn. We talk about socialization, handling, enrichment, and we learn some basics like eye contact, sit, touch, name game. But after 90 minutes, this dog crashed, like tired, didn't want to do anything else. Um, so you'll find that doing training is going to help tire your dog out as well. So that's that good mental stimulation, um, having your dog think. If your trainer does like shaping games, you can shape like tricks, or sometimes with some dogs I have to shape it down, but that can help tire them out as well. There's also a really fun thing called 101 Things to Do with a Box. And you basically get a bigger box than this, and you put it on the floor, and there's no wrong answer. If they look at the box, click and treat. And I always treat in the box. Um, and then they might sniff the box, click and treat. After they've sniffed it a few times, then I'll be like, oh, you got to give me something more. And so I wait for them to like step in the box or tip the box over. And so they have to figure out what I want to make the clicker go off and the treat. And really what I want is just something different. So as long as they experiment, there's no wrong answers. And I played it once with one of my pit bulls until he actually like got in the box, was standing in the box, and then sat in the box. So that shaping games like that can be really tiring because the dogs have to use their brain. Um, Nicole, if you can't find that, email me and I will send it to you. You probably already have this, but there's my email. Um, let's see, Danny. When she does that, I put her on lead for a few minutes to calm her down, and she's much better if I take her off lead again. Yeah, you can do that too. So, in puppy classes, which is really the only time that I do like, playtime, is if a dog is getting like too rough, um, then we'll do a timeout. And we'll just say, okay, timeout in a like fun, happy voice. So, and then we take them out for 1 minute, let them calm down, and then they can go in and play. So yes, you can do that as well. And that's totally fine and appropriate. If your dog continues to be aggressive and chase other dogs, then I might leave because we don't want her practicing that behavior too much. But if you can take her out and put her on lead and let her calm down, and then she can go back in and be more appropriate, then that's totally fine. And that works. So good job. You guys are doing everything right. You guys are doing great. I'm going to go back and see if I missed anybody's question. Let's see. If you don't have questions, tell me um, something good that happened this week, like a milestone for your dog, like my dog finally did a settle, or my dog finally came when called, or something like that. Um, like Julie's big win for the week was had a birthday party, and her two dogs had fun and laid down next to somebody, either in the house or next to their feet, no issues. So that's a win. That's awesome. Um, Okay. My Jade's going crazy. So our next door neighbor's got two little kittens, and these kittens love to terrorize my dogs through the fence. And so anyway, I shut the dog door so that Daphne and Willy Wonka are outside, and then Jade and Maddie are inside. But I think Jade can see Daphne at the fence where the cats are, and she wants to go out. But Jade's a fence jumper, so I have to supervise her when she's outside. Plus, I had her in here just in case I needed to demo anything. Hey, Jade. Good girl. Good girl. What are you barking at, huh? I think I need to get them another cat. Okay. Oh, Barb. Okay. Suggestions to curb barking when someone comes to the door. Sorry, I thought allergies so bad. Yeah, so I did this with a client 2 days ago. Her dog barks really bad at the door. So what we started doing is a positive interrupter. And basically what that means is like what I just did with Jade. Like she was barking out the window. So I just called her over, interrupted the barking. It's not like she's doing anything wrong. She's barking because there's something going on outside. I do let the dogs bark once to let me know that there's somebody at the door because I don't have a doorbell. So people have to knock and I sometimes don't hear it. So I will usually say like, okay, stop or enough, got it, thank you. With this other dog, so you can interrupt and then redirect. So with this dog, what we do is we interrupt. So her word is stop. So she'll say, Gracie, stop, and then go to your mat. So we taught the dog to go to the mat and stay there until the person comes in, and then we release Gracie to go say hi. So she's allowed to bark once to alert, like there's somebody here, but then we interrupt and then redirect her to the mat. And then we set up these scenarios where somebody comes to the door, and if Gracie gets up from her mat, the person backs away or closes the door. If she stays on her mat, then the person comes in, and then owner says, okay, Gracie, go say hi. And then Gracie is released to go say hi. So just think about what you want your dog to do instead. Another thing that I've used is a flight cue, which basically means I turn 180 degrees and have the best party and treats ever. So if your dog's barking at the door, you can say like party time or retreat, and you want to choose a treat that's better than any treat that your dog gets. And it's the only time they get it when they hear the flight cue. So it's like Christmas or Thanksgiving for your dog. And so I start by just like throwing it behind them just to get them to turn. And I start with just like, usually when I go to client's house, I'll have one of my water bottles and I'll set it on the ground. And as soon as they go to sniff the bottle, I'll say retreat and throw treats behind them. So it teaches them to turn the other way. Then you can work on distance. So if your dog's barking at the door, you can say retreat and then run your dog to a back room with really high value treats. I use actually, for my dogs, I use gizzards, which is probably just as gross as sardines, but it is what it is. So I will throw like frozen gizzards into the room, close the door, and then I go answer it. If it's somebody that my dogs don't even need to meet, like I have to sign for something, or, you know, if it's the furnace guy or whatever, then I just leave the dogs there. But if it's somebody that they can meet, then I bring them out and teach them how to appropriately meet people. So you can do either one of those. They're both kind of, you're interrupting the barking either way, whether you do the stop, go to your mat, or you do the retreat, which then teaches the dog to go the other way and go in a room and get super yummy treats, and then they may or may not get to come out and meet the people and say hi. So I would do either one of those and start practicing it. This other dog that we did this with, really, we did it in 2 sessions, and the dog did really well. So by the end of 2 sessions, we had set up enough scenarios that he or she could just like, she knew what was going to happen. So then what happens is somebody rings the doorbell and she's like, oh, I know, I've got to go to my mat. So then if you do it enough, then the cue becomes the door knock or the doorbell. Then the dog like will automatically go to the back room for the best treats ever, or go to their mat until they get to go say hi. So I would try that. Try either one of those. Nicole. He does really well with the training we've done so far. He had a lot of potential, just have to keep him motivated. Yes. Oh, wow, you're his third owner because he was destructive. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other things that we used to do for destructive chewers. That can be hard. I had one dog that had separation anxiety, and so this was before the new protocol came out, but I had to get the Alcatraz crate that is like no dog can break out of it, and I would have to put him in there while I was gone, or if I couldn't supervise. So now if it's boredom, then I think that you're very well equipped to take care of that. Mental exercise training, things like that. If it's anxiety and it's destruction chewing because of anxiety, then you might like talk to your vet about some anti-anxiety meds just to calm him down a little bit so that he doesn't get into that like nervous energy where he wants to chew stuff. So if it's boredom, it's easy to to fix that with more mental enrichment, mental exercise. If it's an anxiety thing, then a lot of times we have to go to medication to help with the anxiety. So kind of keep that in mind. And I just read your next one. You took Buddy home Sunday, and my sister said he's like a new dog. That's awesome. So, see, you have a new career now as a trainer. Nicole's been training her whole family's dogs, her sisters and her moms, for free. But that's awesome. Okay, Brian, I was walking the trail for 2 weeks. Now she is scared to go on it. I might have been too far. Remind me how old your dog is. It could be a phase. It could be a fear period. It could be something that happened on the trail that your dog is now scared of. In which case, we would want to counter condition and desensitize to whatever it is that your dog is scared of. How far have you been going? Oh, 11 months. So yeah, it's not a fear period. Although I've heard talk now in the trainer community that there could be a third fear period. Oh, happy birthday to your dog today, 11 months today. I don't think there's any like hard proof yet, but there have been people doing research on stuff on whether there is a third fear period. So 2 to 3 miles. So that seems normal to me, but it also depends on breed. So smaller dogs mature faster. Bigger dogs, it takes longer for their growth plates to close. So if in those 2 to 3 miles, if that's too far for your dog, um, then that could be. But if she's scared, it almost makes me think that something happened that scared her. Um, it could have been a sound. It could have been something that your dog saw that you didn't see. I would try the next time you go on the trail, maybe take some hot dogs or something and drop them on the ground as like a little trail and see if your dog will like go on the trail to start picking up the hot dogs, and so that we now make that positive association with the trail. And then you might try backing off a little bit and maybe just do 1.5 miles, um, and see. Oh, so Rottie Boxer mix. Yeah, I mean, I've got pit bulls and I've gone that far. I mean, I took my German Shepherd on like a 10 miler one time, and he was tired, but he did great. Now in his older years, there's no way he could have done that. Um, so yeah, he should be able to handle 2 to 3 miles, but you might try. Um, however, that is a bigger breed, so it might be a pain issue. Um, you might, just to be safe, ask your vet, like, at what age would my dog's growth plates be closed, and if I'm going 3 miles a day, could there be a pain issue? Just to rule that out. If your vet says, oh, no, you're good to go, you can go 5 miles, then we need to counter condition and make the trail a fun place to be. And I do that by taking treats. You can also do fun things along the way, like go hunt. So take some treats with you, or something like bacon, hot dogs, and on the side of the trail, throw them out and just say, go hunt, and let your dog like explore, find the hot dogs, find the bacon, um, so that we're creating that new association like, oh, I love to go on the trails because I get hot dogs and bacon and really fun stuff, and I get to play fun games on the trail. So I would rule out medical first and make sure it's not a pain issue. I know a lot of Rottweilers that sometimes have hip issues, although at 11 months old, you wouldn't think that he would be having issues already unless it's a genetic thing. Um, so yeah, I would rule that out first and then try to make the trails really fun. You can also try a different trail and just see if your dog will go on a different trail or if it's just trails in general. So I would try that. Nicole, his previous owner kicked him out. Oh my gosh! And told the shelter to get him if they want him. I got him around 10 months old. I had talked to his trainer about separation anxiety, and it could be, but watching the cameras, we are leaning more towards boredom. Yep, good job. So I'm glad you have cameras. Um, and yeah, especially that breed, they do need a lot of mental and physical stimulation. Um, and I've known quite a few huskies that have been like destructive chewers. So I don't know if that's a genetic thing or if it's just a boredom thing. Um, and if you're so does he only chew on stuff when you're gone, or does he also chew on that stuff when you're home? Because if it only happens when you're gone, it could be a little bit of separation anxiety and it could be some boredom stuff. So one thing you could do is, when you leave, hide treats around your house in various places, like behind couch legs, um, just so like your dog has something to do during the day, like, hunt around your house to find treats. You could leave a lick mat out. You could do a stuffed frozen Kong. Um, I had a puppy here 2 weeks ago that had really bad separation anxiety. Um, it was so bad, it almost put me to the point of I don't want to do puppy board and train anymore because it was so bad. And so what I started to do was, and I had to crate the dog when I left because I didn't want my house destroyed, and I don't leave dogs out in my yard unattended when I'm gone. I trust my dogs, but I just would feel terrible if something happened. So, like, I don't know, a really determined dog could probably dig under my fence. So, what I would do is put him in a put him in a crate and give him a stuffed frozen Kong that then would take time to lick out, and it's also soothing for the dog to like repetitively lick. So you could try a stuffed frozen Kong, and I would do the big one, um, or like a big lick mat that's frozen, um, something like that that gives your dog something to do. Um, oh, hi, Maddie. What made you decide to get up? Maddie's 11 and she's been really sore, really ouchy lately. So I'm always surprised when she gets up and comes over and says hi. Oh, is your leg hurt, honey? She's been favoring her back, one of her back legs. So, Nicole, he will do it some when I'm here, but I can redirect him. Okay, that's good. So it's not necessarily a separation thing, but it definitely could be. Um, it could still be anxiety. It can still be an anxiety thing. So dogs can have um, chemical imbalances and things just like people can. So dogs can have like OCD type behaviors, chewing, things like that. So if you find that it continues, I would still maybe talk to your vet about anti-anxiety meds and just see if it helps. Um, there's some that they can do that you do on a daily basis, um, every day. It takes like 4 to 6 weeks to kick in. But there's other ones that you can do, like if you know you're going to be gone for half a day or something like that. Um, like we don't want your dog to be like zoned out and dopey, but we just want to take some of that anxiety out. And your dog, if you're the third owner and your dog was kicked out, there is a good chance that your dog can have some PTSD. Um, I've read in a lot of books and done seminars where they are saying that dogs can have PTSD just like people, especially if they come from a bad situation, um, things like that. So um, I'm not one of those like pro medication trainers, but I am one that I think if it's appropriate, it can be night and day. And I've even had clients that have said that um, medication has made such a difference for their dog. So it's just something to think about. Maria, any suggestions for a dog who is reactive to other dogs, sometimes people while on a leash? Yes, that's kind of a loaded question. Um, so, meaning there's no short answer. I like to do the engage, disengage, look at that game. So, you want to start from a distance. So, threshold is really important. So, you want to start at a distance to where your dog can just look at the other dog or the person and not react. And a lot of dogs are more reactive on leash. And a lot of times that's a fear based behavior because when we have them on leash, we take away their fight or flight option. And so they're like, oh, I'm on a leash, I can't flee, so I'm going to try and scare the other dog away. Um, so if your dog starts to react, then I just say, oh, let's go, and go the other way. And I move them farther away. If you see a dog from a distance, you can stop and just say, like, oh, look at that dog, click treat. And I do use a clicker for this um, because I'm marking the dog just looking at the other dog or the person and not reacting. So it's like, oh, look at the person, click treat. Look at the dog, click treat. If your dog reacts, then he's too close. If your dog, I will do that like 10 times, and once it's like calm, then I'll try to move one step closer. So I always do setups, like very controlled setups with first a fake dog and then maybe one of my dogs, so that I can control the distance. So if you're on a walk and your dog starts to react, then I would turn and go the other way because you want your dog to like not practice that behavior. Um, but then you could go to like a parking lot, as people get out of the car and as dogs get out of the car, be like, oh, look, there's a dog, click treat. And then eventually what will happen is your dog will look and then disengage and look at you. Like, oh, okay, I know this game. I look at them and then I look at you. Like, okay, where's my treat? And oh, by the way, there's a scary person and a dog over there. And then you can click and treat for that too. So if your dog looks and then looks away, click and treat for that. So Maria, I have a handout for that. I'm sure you can find it online. It's called Engage Disengage. But if you want to email me, I'm happy to send it to you. And if you still need help, I do offer private virtual consults, and I do 10% off for all of Pupford people. So I do reactivity all the time virtually in a lot of states. So I have videos to actually show you, because there are other things that I do, like relaxation, teaching a dog how to be calm with increasing distractions. They'll look at that, things like that. So if it's severe enough and you think I really need more and like a whole training plan, email me and we could set up like a virtual session where I can go through like the whole behavior modification protocol with you. It would be about 90 minutes. And like I said, I do give all of Pupford folks a discount. So just keep that in mind. But in the meantime, email me and ask me for the Engage Disengage handout, and I will be happy to send that to you. Yeah, Nicole, I would talk to your vet and just see, because we always want to rule out medical first. Okay. So going back to Brian's, did anything scary happen on the trail that you can think of? I'm just thinking of, like, as an example, Daphne was coming in the back door one time and Jade snapped at her. I don't know why, because Jade likes to guard everything. And so now Daphne doesn't like to come through the back door. Like, I have to literally help her or put Jade in a crate so that Daphne will come in. So I've got to work on that. But when you go out again, try to see if there's anything that could be making your dog nervous or scared or sounds. Like, try to watch your dog's body language and see if your dog's like cowering or tail tucked or anything like that, so that we can kind of figure out what it is that's making your dog not want to go on the trail. And this would be after we rule out like that it's painful. So I would talk to your vet too and see if it's okay to go that far. Oh, okay, no, but I might have pulled her a bit. Yeah. When you say pulled, do you mean like pulled on the leash? You might switch to like a freedom harness so that it's not hurting your dog's neck, because that could be painful too, like if it's hurting the neck by pulling. Um, so you might go to a freedom harness, but if a dog's fearful of something and we like pull them and force them to do something, that can actually make them more afraid. So I'm a big proponent of giving a dog agency and choice. So if there's something they don't want to do, I don't make them. So I'll give you an example. I was walking a client's dog and my dog along a trail that we do all the time. And all of a sudden, my dog stopped and ears went up. She got really stiff and she kind of did a little growl. And I'm like, what do you do? There was nobody else there. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? And so I kept walking. I'm like, come on, let's go. And she went 2 more steps and stopped. And she did not want to go. And there was definitely something she was alerting to. And so I got looking and there was a mama moose and a baby. And so she could smell or sense that before. I didn't hear anything. I obviously didn't know it was there, but she knew. And she did not want to go. Now, since it was a mom and a baby moose, I was like, oh, we are getting out of here, because I had 2 dogs with me. And so we actually just turned around and went the other way, like really fast. So, yeah, and if you pulled her like on a leash, then I would kind of go back to doing like dropping hot dogs or dropping something good so that your dog like wants to walk forward and pick those up. Um, you know, Maria, for reactive dogs, I actually don't like the gentle leaders because it can be aversive because it squeezes the dog's nose. But it depends on how big the dog is and if you're able to control it. So I had some clients that were late 60s, early 70s, and I have no idea how old you are, but well, I can see your picture, so you look really young. But these guys had like a 90-pound pit bull that was very reactive / aggressive. So in that case, for control's sake, yes, I had them go to a Halti because I knew that this dog was going to pull these people over and get away from them. So in that case, yes, we did go to that. If you're able to control your dog okay, I would go to a freedom harness. And the reason is because if your dog sees another dog and starts to pull and then feels the Halti or the gentle leader like squeeze over their nose, then they can also associate that with the other dog. You okay, Manny? So we don't want anything aversive to happen to your dog when they see another dog. So that's the only reason that I wouldn't use a gentle leader, because we don't want to make seeing another dog or a person any more traumatic. So I would actually go to a gentle or a freedom harness that clips in front, and it has a front and the back clip. In fact, I would show you today, but it's out in my car. I would clip it in the front and the back, so it'll give you more control. And then if you want to give your dog a longer leash, just unclip the back. But then if your dog starts to pull or react, you can just turn them back towards you, or it's easier just to turn and go the other way. Shoulder surgery, yeah, so then it can be hard. So if it's hard for you physically, there's actually a head harness that I like better, and it's called a Canine Bridle. And it doesn't squeeze the nose. It goes over the nose, but it actually, the leash clips in the back of the head, and it applies just gentle pressure on some pressure points back here that makes the dog like want to lean back instead of pull forward. But it's not aversive in that it doesn't squeeze. So it's kind of like, a halter for a horse. I like that one better if I have to go to a head halter. And I still get the dog used to it. Like you don't just put it on and go because to the dog, it's like, this is foreign, this is weird, and they'll try to paw it off and everything else. So if you do go to a head harness, let me know and I will send you a video on how to get your dog used to it, um, so that your dog doesn't hate it. But yeah, if you have to use a head harness, I would look up the Canine Bridle. They come from Canada, I believe. So it might take a little bit longer to get there. I don't think they sell them online anywhere else. Um, but for reactive dogs, I don't like to use aversives, like anything that the dog would consider aversive, like, a halty or something like that. Unless it's a safety thing where you need that extra help because of your shoulder, um, then yes, I definitely would, because it's better to do that than have your dog be able to pull out of your hand. And yes, email me about the private consult. I'll send you paperwork that you fill out, um, and then under the like who recommended you, just put Pupford so I remember to give you a discount. And that's for all of you guys too. If you feel like you need like some one-on-one training, I do a lot of virtual stuff. I give all Pupford folks a discount. So I'm happy to help you, especially with issues that are a little bit more involved and can't really be discussed in detail here. So, okay, well, let's go ahead and do a drawing. Um, since I don't see any other questions, I'm just looking through here really quick to make sure I didn't miss any. Um, okay. So I'll use in a bowl. And tonight's winner is Julie Kaplan from New York. So congratulations, Julie. I think, Julie, you've won before too, haven't you? That's a nice thing about doing drawings. You have multiple chances to win. Okay, so Julie, you probably know the drill. You are going to email Pupford, hello@pupford.com, and let them know what kind of treats you want, and then they will send them to you. So pick one that you haven't tried yet or get your favorite one. I will actually be at Pupford again on Monday to film some more videos for you guys. And when I'm there, I always stock up on treats because that's all I use for my own dogs, and when I go to do clients, that's all I use. And they don't pay me to say that, I promise. But every time I go to somebody's house, they're like, "Oh my gosh, what treats are you using? My dog loves those." And I like that they're the perfect size. They're small. They're freeze dried, so they're not messy, and they're low in calorie. So I will be stocking up again, which is good that I'm going down there. I mean, I can have them shipped as well, but it just saves me shipping costs if I'm going down there anyway. But I'm literally like almost out, so it's good that I'm going. Okay, well, you guys have a great week. And if I didn't answer your question like all the way, or if, like Brian, if you discover something else that's going on, feel free to email me. Sometimes it takes me up to 48 hours to look at all my emails, but I will get back to you. And if you wanted any of the handouts, please email me and I'll send those to you. So have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday. It's fall break for some people, at least here. So I'm hoping that we have enough people. But I'm sure that I will have my favorite regulars that join me every week. I love you guys. So have a great night, have a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday.